Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, hello, my name is Katie, and for those of you who are not new, welcome back. So for today's video, I have a reading wrap up for you. These should be all the books that I read in March and April, and I think like one in May. So technically, these are all the books that I've read from yesterday back until the beginning of March. We've got 11 books to talk about, and like always, I will start with the furthest back and work my way up to the most recent read. So you'll probably see a pattern of I will talk least amount about the books from March, and as I get going to the books from the present, I will talk more about them because I remember. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. So the first book that I have to talk about is called Silent Vows by Jill Ramsauer. So this is the Mystic Box edition. I can't remember what month this was, but we got this book and then the second book, which is Corrupted Union. I think that's what it was. So this book is, we are following Connor and Noemi, because it's not Naomi, it's like Noemi. It was a little hard for me to read Noemi, but it is what it is. Okay, so Noemi is 18 years old, and her family is in the mafia, and her father would very much like her to get married to someone who else is in the mafia, and that can like make his status like bump up. So she gets arranged to be married to Connor. Connor is, I want to say it's a slight age gap. I can't remember if he's like 27, 28. 29? Do I hear 30? No, I think it's 28. I think he's 28. So I think it's a 10-year age gap. But here's the thing. Noemi does not speak. Something happened very recently that left her mute, and she does not speak to anybody. However, Connor finds out that she does and can speak, and he really wants to know like why it is that she doesn't want to talk. So since she doesn't want to say anything, he comes into her he comes into her room one night and doing a little something to the point that she screams, and everyone in her house hears her. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, you can talk, la la la, it's great. But yeah, so that scene lives like rent free in my head. But we find out that her dad is not a good dad. He right now is a single father. Her mom passed away not too long ago, and that's kind of the traumatic thing that happened that left her mute. So there is a trigger warning for abusive parent in this. But I really enjoyed it. Like, their story comes full circle in this, so there's no cliffhanger. The next book is about his cousin, so you get like a full story. So the tropes we have: mafia, arranged marriage, age gap, who hurt you? Because yeah, he says that. And mutism, I guess select, because of like she decided that she wasn't going to speak anymore. And then the triggers is death of a parent, abusive parent, and trauma. I highly enjoyed this. This was a pick from my sister, so sometimes she picks good ones. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The next book that I read was Beautiful Exile by Catherine Cowles. I had an arc for this, so I was very excited to finally get into Arden's story. This is book 4 in the Sparrow Falls series, and in this book we are following Arden and we are following Lincoln, or Link. So Arden is one of the sisters from all the other siblings in all the other books, but she is the most closed off. She has had a lot of trauma in her past, and to the point where she was actually in witness protection until she was about 18 years old. And then when she turned 18, she kind of felt like, okay, I can do this. There hasn't been anything like going on, so I think I can go about my life now without having to worry about it. And she is an artist, and she spends most of her time just like in her home doing her art, just being very reclusive, and is very closed off to people. And then Lincoln is the owner of the hockey team that her brother plays for, and he just so happens to be building a new home in the town that they all live in. So her brother allows him to stay in his house while he's gone like training for hockey. And she also lives on her brother's property, just like in her own home, you know. So there's forced proximity with that. He falls first. We love to see it. He has known about her art, but not about who she was. But like, he has seen her art before, and he's always wanted like a piece of it to have in his house. And he's very much like, just name your price, name your price. And she's like, no, you cannot buy me. My art is not for sale like that. And their meet cute is really funny because like, she's in her other brother's gym, and she's like working out, and he comes in and no one else is supposed to be in there. So she like gets very defensive and like puts a switchblade to his neck, to his neck. It was very cute. It might not sound it, but it was very cute. So the tropes for this is small town, romantic suspense, and found family. He falls first, golden retriever hero, black cat heroine. We love to see it. I gave this one 5 stars because, again, I love Catherine Cowles. I have come to that conclusion that I just love all her books, and I cannot wait for the last book. I've loved every single one of these in the series, so it's safe to say I definitely believe I am a Catherine Cowles stan. Okay, the next book that I read was on my Kindle, and it was The Butcher by Penelope Sky. This is book 1 in the Fifth Element series. I do believe it's Fifth Element. I could be wrong now, but I think it's Fifth Element. In this book, we are following Fleur, and Fleur is recently separated from her, I don't want to say recently, but I guess kind of recently separated from her husband. She's trying to get a divorce from him, but he is like, no. He just keeps stalling, and like, he knows people in like the court system and stuff. So like, he keeps pushing it away, and they keep like denying her requests and all this stuff. And this is based in Paris, by the way. So this is all in Paris. So the atmosphere was fantastic. But she lives like in this little small apartment. She works at a local bar. And one night walks in our hero named Bastien. And he is just like a head to toe tatted bad boy, you know. But he's blonde. And you know how we feel about blondes. But it's okay. We're going to let that go. And they have this like one night of just like, wow, you know, just this one night of fun. And she's like, great, fantastic. In fact, in the book, like, she calls him like her antidepressant. She's like, all I was looking for was like a quick antidepressant, and you were it, and now that's great. But he's like, oh no, you are now mine. You're mine. And we learned that he is actually in the Fifth Element system, which is kind of like a system of underworld crime lords that control the other crime lords. So like, they all have a code that you can't hurt innocents and things like that. So once that happens, that he has to step in, and he has to like the bad people, you know. So was it dark? To me, no. But I've read darker. But for someone like that hadn't read anything dark, perhaps it could be dark. It's definitely gray. It's in the gray area for sure. The tropes for this is, well, I guess it's not really a trope, but it's like underground crime. It's not mafia, but it's kind of, you know, morally gray hero, cheating husbands. That's a trigger if you're, you know, upset by that. But that husband in this book, I just wanted to, oh, he drove me nuts. And in fact, the second book follows the same couple. So like, their story continues. It doesn't end in a cliffhanger or anything, but just know that their story continues. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars. So it was my first Penelope Sky, and I highly enjoyed it. So I would definitely continue with the series. Okay, the next book that I read was My Darling Mayhem by Ashley Munoz. This was our book club pick for the month of March. Yeah, for March. And in this book, we are following Ren. She is a single mother who we kind of get the feeling is running from something, but we don't really know. She just wants to like settle down in a nice suburban area, raise her son, just let everything be fine. And then one day her neighbor comes and moves in, and he pulls in on this like motorcycle, and she's like, oh no, I cannot have this in my life. And her neighbor is Archer, and he is actually the president of a motorcycle club. And I cannot remember which one it is called right now. Guess it's not important. But he also has a little brother who's the same age as Ren's son, and they are in the same kindergarten class, and they actually share like a little table. So they have to kind of interact because of that. But things happen, and then they just have to end up interacting more and more, and then a romance develops. And then there is a little bit of suspense closer to the end. And this also kind of coincides with another book series that she has. Is it the something University? Rift Ford Ridge? It's somewhere. I will put it up here somewhere. But the characters from that story you see in this story. And I kind of feel like if you read those books, you would know who those characters are in My Darling Mayhem better. Because like I hadn't. And she was just like spouting off people. And I was like, okay, who's who? What's what? What's going on? But like I don't think it deters from the experience if you hadn't, because I hadn't. I just kind of wish I would have known those characters. But all in all, I highly enjoyed it. Gave it 5 stars. The tropes is small town, motorcycle club, and single parents. The next book that I read was Borrowed Bride by Amy Williams. I had to look down because I could not remember. Okay, this one is a little, I don't know how I feel about this one. So this book we are following Marco and Gianna. Gianna, in the beginning of the book, is a pickpocket, and she's just going around to random men on the streets, just taking what she needs. Well, she ends up pickpocketing the hero of the story, and he catches her. And he's like, no. He's like, actually, no. We're not doing this. He's like, you know what? No. I need a bride. Totally random, I know. And she's like, no. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And he's like, okay, I'll make a bet. You take this card, this lovely little credit card, and you go and see if you can reach the limit. And if you can't reach the limit, you have to pretend to be my bride. And she's like, bet, I got this. So she goes, and she is like just buying out everything. Grocery stores, clothing stores, and she's sending stuff to the homeless shelters because she is homeless at the time. And she's like calling up shelters being like, these hotel rooms have been paid for. Tell your people who can't get into the shelter to go. So she's trying. She is trying her hardest to get that maxed out, and she can't do it. So she has to become his bride. And the story just kind of goes from there. So they get to know each other, and things happen. And then somebody may get pregnant. And then a time jump happens, and they haven't seen each other in a while. Something happens, and he thinks she has passed away. And now they're seeing each other again. And what's going to happen? I don't know. This sounds fantastic, right? Like the setup sounds great. No, it's not. Like, I won't even read it. I gave it 3 stars because I was being nice because it was my sister's pick. There were so many plot holes. And it just was like so much thrown in that just didn't make sense to me. I did not enjoy it too much. So I gave it a 3. But if you want to try it, go right ahead. Not for me. Okay, the next book that I read was Hideaway Heart by Melanie Harlow, book 2 in the Cherry Tree Harbor series. In this book, we are following Xander. Xander is the brother of the hero from the first book, and his name's escaping me, so it doesn't matter. He is a bodyguard, and his friend calls him up and is like, hey, I need a favor. And he's like, I got you because I owe you a favor. Because they were both in the army together, and this guy saved Xander's life. So he's like, I owe you a big one. So he calls him up for that favor, and he's like, okay. He's like, you don't know this, but my sister, she is a country star. Her name is Pixie Hart, and she needs a bodyguard for the week or 2 weeks because she's going on vacation to the town very close to where he lives in Tree Harbor. And she doesn't want anyone. She doesn't want any bodyguard, she doesn't want anything, but he doesn't want her to be by herself. So Xander's like, cool, I'll do it. And her name in real life is Kelly Jo. She goes by Pixie as her stage name. But like her brother is like, he's coming, and she's like, no, he's not. It's fine. Like, I'm going to message him, and doesn't need to come. So she does. He still shows up, and she is not happy. So there's a lot of banter because he's not leaving, because he's doing this for her brother, and she's like, I don't need anybody, just leave me alone. But eventually forced proximity happens, and then they just can't deny that they both have feelings for each other because they're 2 good-looking people. and we're forced together, and we're gonna hang out and talk, and we're gonna see that we actually like each other. And there is a little small town there, so this is small town, duh, but there's like a little suspense because there is somebody who is stalking her and posting up pictures online, like to like TMZ, yeah, and things like that. So there's a little bit of that. I highly enjoyed this. I gave this, what did I give it? I gave it 5 stars. So the tropes is small town, bodyguard, country star, no third act breakup. We love to see it. Sometimes I hate third act breakups. I do it. I hate it so much. But this didn't have it, and love Melanie for that so much. The next book that I read was Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. So we all know what that means. I finished the series. I finished the Brutal Birthright series. I feel so great. High five myself. It was an amazing... There was nothing like finishing a series. Literally, I felt so good. I felt so good about myself. Ugh. Okay. Last book. This is book 5? 6? Book 6 in the Brutal Birthright series. We are following Ada's youngest, is he the younger brother? The youngest brother, I do believe, the youngest brother, Sebastian. And we learned about him in the first book. He was the one who had the, who got hurt at the party, and he no longer could be a basketball player. That was like his dream. So now he's just kind of figuring out what he's going to do. Like, everyone else, all of his siblings have like left and have done other things, and it looks like he's going to be the one that's going to have to like step up and take over for the family with the mafia. And he wasn't really wanting to do that, but here we are. One night he's walking home, he sees this very tall, very gorgeous woman getting stuffed into a trunk. He comes, he saves her. It's fantastic. And she just happens to be the daughter of a rival mafia family. So they are forbidden. They should not meet. They should not like each other. They should not do any of this stuff, but they do. But then we learn, well, maybe it wasn't so much of a coincidence that he was the one to save her that night. So, but they start a romance, and maybe under false pretenses at first, but then they really do end up falling in love. And then there's a wedding, and then there's a shootout, and then there's some like keeping people in basements because we don't trust people. And then at the end, we get a very small tidbit sneak peek of the next series, which is the Kingmakers, because their son gets accepted into that college, which so it segues right into the next series very nicely. What did I end up giving this? I only gave it 3 stars because it wasn't my favorite. Like it wasn't my favorite, and nothing will ever beat Ada and Cal. You can't do it. You can't make me. It was 5 star. You can't do it. But the tropes for this is forbidden, rivaling families, and mafia. And he also was a damaged hero because of what happens in book 1. So it was okay. It was okay. Still can never beat book 1 for me, but I still liked it. And then the next book that I read was Killer of Mine by Alexis Grace. This was on Kindle Unlimited, and I loved this book so much. Okay, we are following Freya in this book, and she is a detective who at the start is at like an FBI convention type thing or like a lecture, and the serial killer that they're talking about is something that she knows a lot about because it just so happens to be her father. Like, you just can't make this stuff up. It's such a good premise. And the guy who's doing the lecture is an FBI profiler, and then he's got a team of how many? 3 other guys. So we see where we're getting at? Okay. And he's like, there's something about her. So like, he needs his male version of Garcia to get in there and be like, if you know Criminal Minds, you know. And they find out that she's the daughter of the serial killer. And so like they all are like, you are staying with us until we can figure out and catch your dad. And so we've got 1 man, 2 man, 3 man, 4, and Freya all together. Thank you. This is a wide choose. If you did not guess, it was fantastic. 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Cliffhanger, yes it does. Book 2 is out already. I haven't gotten to it yet. But if you read it and then are like, I need to go straight to book 2, like normal people do, it's out. You go for it. Me, I don't do that. There are plot twists. I kind of figured it out. Like, I was like, okay. But then again, I read thrillers, so like I'm always looking for the plot twist. So if you don't really read like thrillers a lot and you're like, you might be surprised. Still loved it. Gave it 5 stars. So good. The next book that I read was Ward D by Frida McFadden. This was another book club pick for April. You know what? It is like, people don't like Frida McFadden, or they don't like, but look, she writes some good potato chip thrillers. You know, they're not gonna like, you're not gonna gain any like sustenance from it. It's not a steak, but it's a good time. It's a potato chip. So we are following Amy, and Amy's a medical student who has to do a night shift in the psych ward at this hospital. We don't know why she doesn't like the psych ward. We just know she doesn't. And there's something that happened in her past, okay? And we learned through flashbacks that she had a best friend who started acting a little strange when they were in high school and ended up going into Ward D. And she really hadn't seen her since. Well, the night of the shift, guess just who is there? Who is a patient in this place other than her friend from years ago? The night continues. The night's going on. She's living her life. And then one by one, people start, we gotta figure out what's going on. That's all I'm gonna leave you with. It was good. I gave it 4.25 stars. You could tell that she really did do her research and talk to people who have either worked in the field or who had mental illness, because yes, there were some things where I was like, oh, I don't like it when we use mental illness as a trope or as, you know, whatever. But like the words that she used and the explanations and the way she portrayed people, I was like, I see you. You did your research. And if you don't know, I'm a therapist, so I kind of have an idea. But I, you know, it wasn't bad. And there were so many plot twists. I enjoyed it. 4.25 stars. Have at it. Okay, the next book was The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. So this is the second book in the Nashville Neighborhood series. And I can say I highly enjoyed this one more than The Doctor. Like, The Doctor was good. It was just a fun time, but I liked this one more. So in this one, we are following Erica, and Erica has been divorced for 2 years, I want to say, at this point. And she's just living life, you know. She caught her husband cheating on her, so she was like, okay, that's it. So now she's like 40, 42, and she's starting over, just kind of being her own woman. And one day she's laying out by her pool, and she just like, oh, I don't like tan lines. So what am I going to do? No one can see me, right? So she takes off her bathing suit top and is just laying there, you know, sun's out, guns out, everything, you know. And in walks in her pool boy, and he is just so happens to be her best friend's 20-year-old son. I feel like he's got to be older than 20, 21, 22. He's around there. There's like a 20-year age gap, I do believe. But he is like, oh my gosh, because he's always he's always thought she was, you know, pretty, but he could never do anything because it was his mom's best friend. Well, let's just say they start up something. And this book, Nikki Sloan knows how to bring the spice and the hotness, because I tell you what, this book. Now, I don't usually read reverse age gap because I'm more of like I like older guys. So like I like to read about older guys. But however, I was very surprised and I highly enjoyed this one. So if you're looking for the tropes, oh, I didn't even tell you the boy's name. I am so sorry. This is Troy. Hello. Say hello to Troy. And there's more to the story, I feel like, than in The Doctor. Like, we get more of like seeing her as a person, seeing him as a person, them helping each other, just kind of like figure out their dreams as well. So there's more than just like the relationship. So that's why I enjoyed it more than The Doctor. So tropes, we have reverse age gap, taboo, and best friend's son. And I ended up giving it 4 stars. Still haven't found my 5 stars in the series, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I still, this one was really good. The last book was an arc that I received by Harlow Ray, and it was Buckled in Barbwire. This book, we are following Brody and Paisley. Brody is a broody man. Okay, let's just get that out there. He is a broody, grumpy cowboy. And not just any cowboy. A billionaire cowboy, mind you, okay? He has set up his family's farm to be very, very successful. And he is like set to become, like, take it over. However, his dad is like, put on the brakes, son. To do this, you need to be married. And he's like, what? Why? I don't know why. Honestly, why is that always a thing? But it is. We love to see it. And he's like, there's no prospects. However, his sister has left the country for the summer and has hired her best friend Paisley to kind of step in and fill the role while she's gone. And Paisley is the complete opposite of Brody, okay? She is sunshine. She is rhinestone cowgirl. She is always in her rhinestones and her cowboy boots and her hat, but it's always rhinestoned, okay? And he sort of blackmails her into being his fake, like, fiance, and then they end up getting married, even though it's fake. But they both, you know, from, like, because we're getting both of their point of views, that they both like each other, but they just can't say anything. However, he falls first. He falls so hard for her first. It's not even funny. But there's like a little bit of suspense, a little bit like closer to the end mixed in, that kind of rolls into the next book that we're going to see, like following his sister when she comes back. I really enjoyed this. Like, the Buckled and Barbwire is talked about it's like the title's in the book. There's a reason why it's called that. I really enjoyed this. This was my first Harlow Ray book. Definitely going to read more. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And if you want the tropes for that, it is small town, cowboy, billionaire, fake marriage, and best friend's older brother. So those are all the books that I've recently read from March up until this point. If you've read any of them, please let me know down below. Or if you want to leave me just an emoji to let me know that you were here, leave me the cowboy emoji, because yeehaw to all the cowboys out there. If you are new here and enjoyed this video and would like to see more content from myself, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help my video reach more people. My social media is linked down below as always, my Goodreads and my Instagram, if you want to stay friends over there or see behind the scenes or help me with like polls and things like that. I would greatly appreciate it. But I hope you all are having a great day, evening, or night, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. And he just keeps, stop, excuse me, you can't scream like that. I am in the middle of a video. But this book, oh gosh, why can't I talk? It's fine. If you are new and enjoyed this video and would like to see me